Do either of you agree with that? Or do you think that this is a matter of like the red light came on, somebody asked him to double-barreled question, and he was just like, I got to get out of this a certain way. And therefore, the easiest way out is to be like, this guy played against these guys, and he's in that type of environment. Therefore, it's helpful. And I don't want to get into the like what happens behind closed doors, because to me, that triggered me immediately, because I was like, don't start this whole, but last year he played against those guys, and therefore, like, we're going to get him into our, like, then call him on the phone and say, hey, what do we do?
Yeah. No, that take that comment and no, that has nothing to do. But I'll flip it to Jim.
Hi.
On Wales roster,
you rang.
Yes.
Who strikes fear into you?
Well, I can
tell you there's not one player for me that I'm worried about. Not one.
For Wales.
For Wales. There's not one single player that I'm like, oh, we have to play a certain system, or we have to focus on this guy, or we have to have two players, kind of know where this player is or track him. Not one single player. It's about how we play and how we react within the game. Of course, we're not going to keep possession the entire game.
You don't think Gareth Bale is somebody you want to keep an eye on? The guy does have a knack of scoring big goals.
Do you think Gareth Bale can play over 60 minutes if he does start? Do you think he's...
I think you roll him out there. Yeah, he's been saving his energy, his legs for these 3 games. First time they've qualified in 58 years. The guy's going to bring it. Like, they're all going to bring this energy.
I don't think he can play a full game and then expect to play 3 days later.
Wait, would we not want to start Josh Sargent then if we are playing against, by and large, a 50% championship?
Well, by that reason,
he really lit you up.
But I'm just saying, generally speaking, like, if you are going to have the advantage, wouldn't you want to use that advantage? Or if you truly believe that, I mean, I guess one other player, Brennan Johnson, strikes a little bit of fear into me against our team. I think he's a good player. He's a
good player. It's not striking fear,
but like not striking fear, but like that's true.
I think Kiefer Moore, he's 6'5" up top. I think that's a problem.
What strikes fear me for Wales
is good for that particular.
Still not striking fear.
No,
I wouldn't say fear. What fears me is that Wales are a team. That's what I fear. And I don't feel like, I think our squad has been through a lot. I think that we've come a long way, but I fear that unity wise, Wales can have the system they're going to play. Say they're going to high press the US, right? And if it doesn't work, they will figure it out. Or that's my worry of like, can they put enough of lean on us that we can't figure it out, right? It's more of like that. So, but I wouldn't say any individual I fear from Wales, but I do fear that Wales have found ways to get performances with a team that is not feared, right? Yeah. They found a way to as a team get results. And the US,
which is what we're going to have to do, but we have more individual brilliance than Wales does. And that's why we are a better team than Wales collectively when we are playing as one. But that's where I think we're all trying to figure out, is this current group going to play like a team and rely as a unit and not on one player? Now, I hope that we have those moments of individual brilliance, especially from a Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Yunus Musa. Those players have the ability to beat one players 1v1, beat two players in the dribble, and combine and have those moments. We say yes, but collectively they have to defend as a group and they have to attack as a group for us to succeed. I think if we do that well, we are better than Wales and we are better than Iran. That's not a question for me. But when I say striking fear into an opponent, Harry Kane checks that box. Raheem Sterling checks that box. Phil Foden checks that box. Bukayo Saka checks that box. Marcus Rashford.
You can just name the whole English team if that helps you.
Well, I'm saying they have every player. You would say, oh, I don't know how this is going to go.
But do you think Wales is looking at like outside of Christian Pulisic? Do you think Wales is looking at Gio Reyna as some sort of like, massive threat? I mean, you've got some guys that have played in big clubs their entire career going like, yeah, but he's still young and he's still.
I would say we gotta watch out for him. He's a talented player. Strike fear? No. Christian Pulisic? I say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, look at their back line. They have Ben Davies, Tottenham. I mean, he's kind of a part-time starter for Tottenham. I mean, he's a consistent player.
Prone to make mistakes. He's prone to making mistakes.
But not someone you're saying, oh, he's a shut-down, lockdown defender. I mean, he's tough and he's good on set pieces, but no one that you're saying, hey, we can't get by this guy 1v1. And then you have Ben Kabongo playing at Swansea City, Chris Mempham playing at Bournemouth, and Joe Rodon playing at Rennes. I mean, they're all adequate defenders, but I would bet on our guys all day.
Yeah, obviously we got to show up, right? I mean, it comes down to the fine margins. And we've seen it in our World Cups in the past that if we get a little bit of that, you create your own luck. But if you get that luck to go your way, then we usually find a way to get through the group. But if we don't, then we don't. Listen, I don't know.
It just comes down to making sure the right guys are plugged in. Christian's always going to be at the left wing spot, but how does he play depends on the players he's playing with. If he doesn't feel that he has to do everything and come inside and take a million touches, then we're doing the right things. That means Yunus Musa is getting up and McKennie's getting up, and they're supporting whoever is playing that striker role. I hope the 9, if it's Jesus Ferreira, does not check back like he's always used to. I think I'd like to see him staying high and stretching the field and playing off the defender's shoulders, finding those pockets to the left or the right or in between those the back line of Wales. That to me would say, okay, we got something going. And then if it's Gio Reyna, that he's on the ball, he's facing forward, he's connecting passes, that to me would say, all right, we're doing things right. But it's all about the right collection of players that, the puzzle has to set up properly.
Of course. Not only does the puzzle have to set up properly, I think what separates good players and good teams from great players and great teams is your ability to adapt to what the game is giving you and how quickly you can make those decisions. I don't know why I have Luka Modric in my mind. Okay. He plays for Real Madrid and Croatia. But when something's not on, he knows exactly where the second option is. And if that isn't on, he's just so cool to go to his third option. And it doesn't necessarily stop the flow and the rhythm of what his team is trying to do or how he's trying to have an impact.
I also think won a Ballon d'Or, though, to be fair.
He did. Zidane is another, obviously above and beyond Modric.
Honestly, I think we should just bring in Ronaldo from Brazil.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, you guys know what I'm trying to say. You just give me a hard time. Is that is what I think is going to determine how much success we have in this tournament.
Are you guys starting Tim Ream then in that case of understanding what is happening? Because it looks like when we named the roster, we went with a lot more experience. People keep complaining about Roldan and Morris, and Ream seems to be one that everybody agrees with coming in. Ream is a little bit of the fact that we had a few players drop out with injuries, right? We know that.
Starting him.
But also now with what we got and who we're playing against, Tim Ream and the form that he's in as a captain of a Premier League squad makes a lot of sense. But is he your starter based on
my other options? My other options are Aaron Long and Cameron Carter-Vickers that are coming off a bit of a sore knee.
Who's not a left center back either. He's
I'm going Tim Ream.
Good, because I would be the first one to tell you, if we're trying to be high and aggressive, and Tim Ream can't play. But in this scenario where he has a partnership with Anthony Robinson built in, they know each other like the back of each other's hands, and the fact that he's playing every week, he's consistent, that Fulham is doing well, and he's the captain of that side. You talk about experience within this group down the spine. He's got to play. He's got to be your number one. However, we know this 2-week camp, Greg Berhalter got to work with Aaron Long and Zimmerman together as a partnership.
No,
that could
stop, Charlie. No, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it.
Listen, you
that
can bring
could be it.
Listen, we talked about this a little bit, and you weren't here, Charlie. But every coach has their favorites, and I think that you have to allow every coach to do that. And I think Aaron Long is definitely one of his favorites. But now it's getting to squeaky bum time, and we can't play around with your, you got to play the players that are going to be the best fit for us to actually have success. And
he brought experience too. He brought experience that we didn't expect. He could have brought Tillman instead of Roldan. He went with Roldan. He could have brought Jordan Morris versus Ariola. I get it, but you're bringing depth in a position and a guy who has a lot of experience in the national team at the professional level. Like the guys that we brought that we didn't think were coming increased our average age, probably to not even being the youngest team in the World Cup anymore. Right, we brought veterans as opposed to a young player that's inexperienced, that's at the bottom of the roster that we all say could be a huge opportunity for Tillman, could be a huge opportunity for Ricardo Pepi. But he brought players that I think in the last minutes they said, "Hey, there's going to be some turbulence on this flight, and we're going to need some people that we can look dead in the eyes and know that can help us weather this, whether on the field or off." By the way, that's the only way that I can process some of these things.
Yeah, like another player that I think of that has a high ceiling is Richie Ledesma at PSV. I mean,
I agree.
He's playing under Ruud van Nistelrooy. He was really getting a lot of playing time. He suffered an injury setback, but now he's still getting back into the mix. That's a player who has a high ceiling. you could throw him into the mix given his ceiling and his potential for 2026. But ultimately, he went with the guys, in my opinion, that if they're not playing, because you're depending on this young roster for most of them to be playing 80, 90 minutes a match and not having those issues, that I want a culture where everyone's happy and excited to be there and uplifting and supporting one another, and no one's going to be sitting there with a pouting and taking down that energy. He wants a straight positive environment in the locker room, and that's okay for
trust
me.
too.
I get it.
There's a lot.
I would want that too.
It's literally trust to me. That's what it is. Where he knows. When was the last time you saw Jordan Morris have a 3 performance? He might not give you a 9 or a 10 ever, but he's going to probably do more good than he does bad. Christian Roldan, same thing. I don't remember the last time he had a 3 performance for the national team. Now he doesn't stand out. He doesn't have the upside of a lot of these guys.
You don't want him to stand out. You want him just to be a hard worker.
I want to know when I put you in and I give you the 3 details, you're going to do those over and over and over again. And you're going to do them to a T. Yeah, and that's like at least one less thing to worry about if you're a coach. I don't agree. I'm not saying do I think Malik Tillman is better? Absolutely. But you don't know what day you're going to get Malik Tillman. We know he's one of the best players at Rangers right now. He's arguably their best player right now. But on any given day, and what he's shown on the national team so far, is that he's still got a lot of work to do to doing that consistently, to being the star that we know he's capable of.